Hey, it's Steve with another 98 Rock Test Drive back at Right Way Hyundai, West Main in Waynesboro. Today we've got a great vehicle. I was doing some research on this over the last weekend and last week, and I've just fallen in love with the specs of this car, and I'm looking forward to getting inside. The 2022 Hyundai Kona N. N stands for Nürburgring in this particular instance, where Hyundai does all of their performance testing. And they do a couple of different things with the N designation, and we're going to talk to Rob Hansen about that here in just a second. But if you were one of those that said crossover SUVs have to be boring, Hyundai's going to take you to task with that and say that's not true. They've got some special stuff going on under the hood and in the cabin on the Hyundai Kona N for 2022. It's truly a hot crossover. The N Performance sub-brand, of course, takes on its first SUV. We've looked at some of the other N and N-line vehicles with Hyundai previously. Of course, they do the Veloster hatchback and also the Elantra. But this is the first SUV they brought to the table. And of course stands for Nürburgring, which we mentioned. It's the world-famous racetrack in Germany where Hyundai does its performance testing. It's brought in some folks from maybe the M brand of BMW to head that operation, and we're going to find out a lot more about that today. N Division's engineers have already worked their magic, as I said, on the Elantra sedan, the Veloster, and this is their first shot at a subcompact SUV, and it's really something special. To tell us more about it, the guy with all the answers, Rob Hansen, as always. Rob, come on over here and talk to us about I love this white. I wasn't sure whether we get the white or the performance blue or even the red, because it comes in some great colors. This is the 2022 Hyundai Kona N, and it's something special, right?
It really is. You know, there's nothing really in this segment that's gonna be comparable. Being a subcompact SUV, but you're running just under 300 horsepower.
Right.
The N designation. So Hyundai has their N line, which is more aesthetic options, a little sportier look. A few performance modifications, but when it has the N badge here up front, that means that they've gone through the entire car and really just stepped it up a notch as far as performance goes.
I'm going to depend on you to keep me straight between the difference in the N line and the N. N line is more of an appearance package. Certainly brings a lot to the table. We've looked at some of the other vehicles, but the N designation by itself means performance, I believe, in this case. So Rob's going to go ahead and pop the hood on this. The 2022 Kona. That was refreshed for 2021 for the Kona line, and it brings a lot of that back to the table with the front end. But this engine, something special for the N models in Hyundai. It's always the same engine, but it's really something special along with the transmission, right?
Yeah, this engine started out in the Veloster N, and then they've incorporated it now into the Kona and also the Elantra N that's going to be coming out here shortly as well.
So one engine choice, but it really scoots down the road.
Yeah, just under 300 horsepower in this Kona. It's hitting 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds, which is pretty impressive.
It is. It's amazing. We're going to look at a special button on the steering wheel that we've already kind of been joking about in the showroom, something I want to see. A big red button that says N of itself on the steering wheel that gives you 10 extra horses, something like that, right?
It does. It scrambles the turbos and gives you an extra boost of horsepower when you need it, say you're trying to pass somebody. And then the engine has to go through a cool down cycle as well after that before you can push it again.
It's amazing. I love that. If you're looking at, if you want something for track day or you're into autocross, but you need a little extra room, this is what you're looking for. You look at the front end on it. It comes with an N front end, but it features a lot of what Hyundai's been known for over the last year or so, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely changed a lot with the styling on this vehicle. They've added more aerodynamic features on the front of it.
And these are true air intakes for this car, right?
They are.
They're active, right? I know we still get the LED running lights and the LED headlights, which are so cool. I love the look of that on this model. And then because it is the N line, we get and on the colors that aren't red, the white and the blue that I've seen, you get the red surrounds, right?
Yeah, on the front diffuser and the rear diffuser we'll see when we go around back there as well. And then even the cladding on the side of the vehicle here is color matched, which just really pulls it all together.
It does. Now you look at the wheels, the 19-inch wheels, the Pirellis on this one, special wheels, special tires for the Kona N, right?
They are. Now these are summer tires.
Okay.
They're going to be a little more sticky as they heat up on the track. And as you notice there, nice big brake caliper. So, updated size on that, front and rear on the car.
One of the things we talked about, we'll talk about the transmission here again in a second, but you see the red brakes. They're not Brembos, but that's for a particular reason. I was reading a little bit that Hyundai, they really wanted to invest some performance in this N line and in this Kona N. but they wanted to make it, they wanted to keep the engineering costs down, to keep the car costs down, the vehicle costs down. And they also wanted to keep the engineering costs and not going with something like a Brembo brake to something that was off one of their other lines, to keep further costs for the owner down the road cheaper, right?
Yeah, they were really trying to hit a certain price point to not be too crazy in price. It's also the reason these are available in front-wheel drive. There isn't an all-wheel drive version, and it's because the amount of technology it would take to incorporate that in the car, it would just raise the price so much that it would just be out of the range that most people would want it to be in.
To want to pay for it, and also, as I said, to keep costs down for the owner in the future. I was also reading about the front-wheel drive versus the all-wheel drive. It also keeps the weight down, right?
It does. It keeps the weight down in the vehicle, and they've gone over it front to back, so the weight balance in this vehicle is very good. The handle's very good. It's not something you want to take off-roading. This is
Right.
this is for the track. This is for hitting those windy roads, going up on the parkway.
Going to get my shadow out of the way here for Dominique. Great side profile on this. Right size. I love how they push the wheel on the Kona itself. I love how they push the wheels out to the ends, out to the corners. It has a firm stance, but with the crossover, it's going to set up off the ground just a little bit more for better everyday driving. It's going to be an everyday driver, much more so than, say, the Veloster N is.
A lot of people think that this, it looks similar to a hot hatch, but when you get inside, you really see the seat placement in it. You're going to feel more like you're in an SUV. You're going to be higher up, and you're going to have better visibility out of it.
Again, you get the N badging in the N here next to the rear wheel. You get the red cladding. You get the brakes. It's just a great visual. And if you come around the back, as we work our way around the back here, I love the tail end on this thing with, again, the red cladding. We've got this special to the N-line Kona overhang here, and it just brings the whole package together.
Yeah, the spoiler here coming down to the rear diffuser at the bottom of the car, those massive exhaust tips
I was
off
going
the
to say,
back of it.
you can get your whole fist into these, and they sound great. We're going to fire it up here in a little bit. Rob brought it in for us today, and it really has a special sound to it.
Yeah, it really does, and it makes all the right noises, and it pops, and it crackles, and it comes alive, and you can also quiet it down as well. If you're driving through the neighborhood, you need to be a little quieter.
Now, on the interior of this, again, this is also, if you looked at maybe the Veloster, or you're looking for a hot vehicle like this, a hot hatch is what we were saying, this crossover gives you the interior space of a crossover, but it gives you the performance that you're looking for, right?
It does, and it is a smaller vehicle, so your storage-wise, you're about the size of, like, say, a Golf GTI or something similar.
Right. It's going to have that extra space in the back. So you do, if you've got a child seat, you're a couple with a family, or you've got a family and you need to have a child safety seat in the back, it's got plenty of room for that. Plus in the back, you get a little more headroom than you say in the Veloster.
You do, yeah. The roof is not nearly swept down as much, so it's a lot more comfortable for a young family. Great
Package. We're going to take a look at the interior here in just a second of the 2022 Kona N. It's the 2022 Hyundai Kona N at Right Way Hyundai, West Main in Waynesboro. I'm Steve. It's another 98 Rock test drive. This time taking a look at the interior. The N from Kona, or I should say the N series from Hyundai, comes with special seats, right, Rob? These are great.
It does. These are nothing compared to the seats that come in the Kona. I mean, they're with the high bolstering and the blue stitching, the Alcantara centers. It's attractive and functional.
Yeah, these extra bolstering even over the Veloster N, and really kind of hug your hips to keep you in the seat if you're doing any autocross, you're on track day, or you're just hitting the country roads. Special wheel here with the special blue stitching. I love the look of this. And of course, paddle shifters we'll take a look at here in a second. The red button, N-Grin Shift. Is that what we said that's called?
N-Grin Shift. Yes, that is the special boost button that you can push in the car. It's actually similar to some Porsche models that you see in Germany that have a similar function.
We're going to talk about pricing here in a little bit, but that's one of the things as we go through this. Keep in mind, if you're looking for this kind of technology, this kind of specs to get you down the road, the engine, the horsepower, the 0 to 60 times, to get this in a crossover, you're really going to have to step up. If you want to look at comparison vehicles, you're really going to have to step up to something much more expensive than, say, an Audi or a Mercedes, right?
Yeah, and that's really what Hyundai was shooting for, is trying to beat out the competition and give you something, some bang for your buck.
And we keep comparing it to the Veloster. Not a bad vehicle, but if you're looking for a little more room, I'm going to get Dominique to kind of skip around the door here and just look at the rear cabin. This is what sets that apart. You've got a higher, more headspace, more headroom here. If you do carry folks in the back, there's a center console with cup holders. There's USB charging in the back. A little more room. It is a subcompact crossover, but if you're looking for that little extra space, this is going to be what you're looking at.
Yeah, and you can see they moved the design language back to the rear seats as well. So the entire car is, it's something special. It's not what you see in the everyday Kona.
That is true. I tell you what, let's get in and take a look at, I want to look at that dash, and I'm going to run Rob through his paces on the dash because it comes with track setups. You can pull up different tracks, which I love. You can set up the active exhaust, make it sound the way you want, and also change, of course, the driving way. So we're going to do that next. It's the 2022 Hyundai Kona N here at Right Way Hyundai, West Main in Waynesboro. We've got Rob Hansen. I'm Steve. Another 98 Rock test drive. We're in the cabin now. Great size for this vehicle. I mean, we're two regular sized guys here in the front. Still plenty of room side to side. I love the feel of these seats, though.
Yeah, they're really comfortable. Even for I'm a bigger guy, and I don't feel like I'm too constricted in it.
But I also just love the bolstering on the sides. We're just sitting still in the parking lot, obviously, but you could tell going down the road, you're kind of zipping through some country lanes, or you're doing an autocross or a track day. It's really going to kind of keep you in your place, right?
Absolutely.
Interior-wise, you're going to see some Hyundai accents that you see on a lot of the cars, but that's great technology. One of the ways they kept the cost down was to use some engineering from their other vehicles, of course. But they also bring some special stuff, too. First of all, we're going to start it up and let you listen to the throaty exhaust. It could get a little throatier from what I understand as well.
Yes.
That's that dual exhaust in the back that we showed that you can fit your whole fist into. It is active. It's going to be able to have some setup in the screen here. We talked about the wheel. We've got the paddle shifters. The N buttons here, run me through what they do.
So on the left side is your typical drive mode selection, which you can actually also do down here on the dash. And you're going to see this in most Hyundais. You're going to see a nice explosion there. When you go to sport mode, you also have a snow mode and an eco mode on the car. The right side is where the fun stuff happens.
Okay, and this is also when it comes up here, right?
Yeah, so if you push that button, you'll go into what they call in mode. Everything takes off. You can hear the exhaust valves open up. The exhaust gets a little louder, a little throatier.
Oh, yeah.
And it gives you some pertinent information up there as far as if you're tracking it, what's most important to you, what your turbo is pushing, what your engine temperature is, things like that.
And it puts the tach center gauge, so you know exactly what you're doing going down the road. Now, bring that up here, because here on the infotainment system in the N mode screen, this is what really, I mean, I am not used to this. I looked at this and went, wow, at this price point, at this level of things that you can do on the screen. Now, you get the same kind of information, but you can also run through some ovals, some tracks, right?
Yeah, you can. It's really neat. I mean,
well, let's stop here first. Let's stop here first. I don't want to miss any of this. You can actually change settings on the exhaust sound. For example, we're doing Sport Plus now. You can change the shift. That's that 8-speed dual clutch wet transmission, right?
Yes, and that's a Hyundai exclusive transmission. They built and designed that transmission.
We talk a little bit about that. I won't stop here too long, but you can get a manual in the Veloster and people say, well, that'd be sportier. Not really. You got the paddle shifting. It's 8-speed dual clutch wet. You're going to get a faster 0 to 60 time in this vehicle, right?
Absolutely, you are. It's actually, it's crazy how things have changed, but nowadays the transmission's going to shift a lot faster than you can in person.
You can see the drive mode that we're in now. Kind of walk us through the rest of this a little bit. Is what else is available? I know you get some track.
Yeah, so it really allows you to customize it. Again, you would operate that with the N button down here on the steering wheel.
Sure.
You can activate things like launch control. You can look at your G-forces as you're rounding corners. Like it's wild here. Back over here you can do your lap timer, so you can record how fast you're doing laps.
Terrific.
Even you can do a 0 to 60 acceleration timer here to see.
Now that's what you guys do on your lunch hour, right here at the dealership. No.
And even up here, if you click circuit, you're going to see some tracks here in America that are already preloaded onto it. That'll help you, time your lap here. Say Road America, they're out there in Wisconsin. It's pretty neat. And
Homestead.
I think over time they're going to add more to this. You even you want to put your Kona on a boat. Eventually, you'll be able to select countries as well.
Oh wow. Terrific. This kind of information on the infotainment system, again, we talked a little bit about this prior to this, but to get the specs, get the engine, get the transmission, get the 0 to 60 times in a subcompact crossover at this price point, you're looking, if you wanted to get this whole package and compare it to something else, you really can't unless you step up to an Audi or Mercedes, and that's going to be twice the money.
Yeah, there's nothing really out there in this price point that's going to have, you know, fun options like this as far as performance vehicle.
And this all comes standard. This is really one package, the N package on the Kona. There really aren't any extras that you could spec out, right?
No, what you see is what you get, you know, and they include some nice features in here, you know, to keep it more comfortable, such as heated seats or built-in navigation.
You got the wireless charging
down there. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the special shifter for the N-Line. You get the drop-in for that. You get great cup holders. You get bolstered high-rise here on the storage. Handbrake, which a lot of folks these days in a lot of vehicles you don't get.
No,
usually
they're always
slide
electric now. Yeah.
Not going to do that today, but that's okay. And of course, I love this red button here. We talked about this again. It gives you the 10 extra horsepower if you're doing that kind of driving.
Yeah, and actually, so on the Elantra N, they're going to have a manual version with this engine, but it will not have that button. That only comes on those 8-speed. Dual clutch transmissions.
Yeah, okay, that again, spec'd and built by Hyundai, and you know that means good stuff. Now we talk about safety features as well that come standard, right? Things like the standard lane keeping assist, the blind spot monitoring, all of that.
Yeah, so all your common safety features are on here. Like I said, you said blind spot assist there. It also has lane follow assist as well as lane keep assist.
And it has the heads-up display for speed, for driving?
I don't believe this has a heads-up display on it. Yeah.
Well, but you get this wide display here, so you got it right in front.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's cool.
12 inches of screen.
You're not going to get lost with that, so that's cool. Next up, we're going to take it out on the highway, and I always like for you to go through the warranty on this because it comes with Hyundai's warranty, right?
Yeah, so performance vehicle, you can take it to the track the day after you buy it, and it still comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty on it.
Yeah. We're going to take it out on the road next and show you just how it skips down the highway, give you a little bit of that sound of that exhaust, which I love. Yeah, I love that.
It pops and crackles. It comes alive.
It makes all the right noises.
And pushing that in button really brings it alive.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how that works. We'll have to figure that out here in a second. We're at Right Way Hyundai West Main in Waynesboro looking at the 2022 Hyundai Kona N. It's the 2022 Hyundai Kona N from Right Way Hyundai this time. We're at Right Way Hyundai West Main in Waynesboro with another 98 Rock test drive. I'm Steve, sitting behind the wheel of a 2022 Hyundai Kona N. The first one they've had at the dealer. They've allowed me to drive this, which I'm always very impressed by. It is a great vehicle. We're going to take it out on the highway here and let you listen to this thing and just kind of get a feel for what a hot hatch as outfitted as a subcompact SUV feels like. We've talked about this a while now and a couple of times, but to get this level of spec and to get this performance to compare something to, you're really going to have to look at a Mercedes or an Audi. Now you could look at the VW Golf and come up with some of the specs, but you're not going to have the room, you're not going to have the utility, and in some ways you're not going to have an everyday driver. If you need the extra space, you need what amounts to some cargo area, but you're looking for a hot hatch, this is really what Hyundai wants to bring to the table. They've kept the engineering costs down by kind of pulling some off-the-shelf parts for the brakes from one of their bigger SUVs, those kinds of things, and not going with something like a Brembo brake to keep your future costs down, to keep your engineering costs down, and also to keep your future costs down. It really makes a great package. Plus, they've already got all this great technology across their other lines. They bring it to the table in the N here for Kona for 2022, and then add things like, how about we add the throaty sound of sport mode. I'm going to go ahead and push that, see if we can get some sound in the cabin here. The cabin is pretty quiet, though. How about that? Yeah. That's really what buyers are looking for. That and the extra oomph you're going to get with that 2-liter 4-cylinder engine under the hood. Same engine for all the N models. They brought it to the table. They said, you know, this is good. We're going to make it better with the 8-speed dual-clutch wet transmission. You're going to get better 0 to 60 speeds. We're sitting at a stoplight here, but you are going to get better 0 to 60 speeds with that than you're going to be able to do with the manual. Cabin interior room feels really spacious. I mean, we've had 3 adults in this thing. You could certainly do 4 if you've got a child seat. You could do, certainly have room for that. Occasionally, if you're taking a little bit of a trip and you got 4 adults, certainly room for those. You get better headroom than you're going to get in some of the other N models. A great sound system, which we haven't fired up yet. It's the Harman Kardon system that comes as standard equipment. And when we say standard equipment on this N model, what we really mean by that is what you see is what you get. There are no options available for this. It comes as one standard package. And that really kind of sets it up to what Hyundai's trying to do with this package. They give you everything you need to have some fun. You're going to go on an autocross. You're going to go to a track day. You're going to push that button. You want to paddle shift through the 8 speeds. You're going to get a 0 to 60 time less than 6 seconds. You're going to get it down in the 5s for a lot of folks. Not going to be able to do that here on 250 West in Waynesboro today, but you really are going to be able to see some great pickup as we start to kind of wind our way up here a little bit. Great pickup. This is the sport mode. It's going to be a little stiff underneath because it wants to give you that handling. We've got the summer tires on, as Rob talked about. They're going to be stickier on the pavement. Today we're at about 25 degrees outside. We picked a cold day to shoot this, but you can feel it hugging the road. It's going to be a great package for when summertime and springtime rolls around. A couple of different colors available. This is their version of white on this. They come with a performance baby blue. It is super. The color that you get in blue on this, and they come with the red, which mimics the red accents that you're going to get on the end with the paint with around the diffuser and the on the back hatch as well. So overall, what are we looking at? We're looking at a really top-notch, fun vehicle with some space inside. That's what we're looking at. You need a little more headroom. You need a little more space inside. You're certainly going to get it over the Veloster. Now, you're going to give up the manual transmission, but a lot of folks, that's not going to be a big deal. And if you're looking for 0 to 60 times, you're really going to be able to make it work in the 2022 Hyundai Kona N. I'm zipping down the highway here at a pretty good clip. Doesn't feel like I'm taxing the engine at all. There's certainly a lot more left to go in this. And if you want to get a test drive, check it out at Right Way Hyundai West Main in Waynesboro. We're going to come back and wrap it up and kind of go through some specs one more time. Meanwhile, I'm going to enjoy the highway. It's the 2022 Hyundai Kona N from Right Way Hyundai West Main in Waynesboro. It's Steve with another 98 Rock test drive. A little chilly. You can see the snow here today, but it's going to keep you warm inside this hot hatch. If you're looking for something with performance, something with a little bit of room inside, something that makes a better everyday driver than the average hot hatch, you want to take a look at this. Hyundai has kept the cost down. This is going to start in the 30s, but you really get a lot for your money when you look at what this brings to the table. The design, just the look of it, the aesthetic of it. Plus then you get the infotainment system with all of the choices that you can set up, whether it be the exhaust, the sport mode, you can pick the track mode. If you're into autocross, if you're into track days, but you need a daily driver and you want something that's going to be comfortable, you want to take a look at the Hyundai Kona N. No manual transmission on this, no all-wheel drive, but really, for what it does bring to the table, I don't think you're going to miss either one of those. Certainly with the 8-speed dual-clutch wet transmission, you're not going to miss the manual, I don't think, and the extra pedal, I don't think. And the all-wheel drive, well, you know, if you're in the Shenandoah Valley, you're in a place with some snow, you're going to give up a little bit of that, but you're also going to give up a lot of curb weight for what you're trying to get out of this. Comes as one package. There aren't any things to spec in addition to what it has here, but I don't think it really needs a whole lot other than what's spec'd with it. You're really going to get a good-looking vehicle at a price point that you're going to have to double to find this kind of vehicle to compare it to, whether it's like we've said, a Mercedes or an Audi. You can kind of sort of compare it to, say, the Veloster from Hyundai. It's a lower vehicle. It's going to sit lower to the ground. Not going to have as much headroom inside. The cabin's going to be a little smaller. Or you can compare it to other hot hatches like the VW Golf. Again, not a real good comparison with all that this brings to the table. So if you're interested in track days or autocross or just something fun to drive with a great 0 to 60 speed, check out the Hyundai Kona N for 2022. And you can find it at Right Way Hyundai West Main in Waynesboro. Just take a look at this thing. Just a gorgeous vehicle. Check it out today.